Skyline Park is one of the most southern parks in all of Germany, located deep in Bavaria, just 50 miles from the city of Munich. Last year I made my first visit to the park, and after picking up a rental car at the airport, made my way to this strange but interesting park.
I'm off to Skyline Park today in my nice little Fiat 500 convertible version with the roof open. It's actually my second trip to Skyline Park. The first one was a bit disastrous. In that when I went, like the day before I arrived here, it was a bit rainy, but not too bad. But then randomly the park, which was originally scheduled to open the next day, decided it was rainy yesterday, so let's not open tomorrow. Even though that day was perfectly sunny and fine. But ended up there, did a nice little trip down south to a bunch of alpine coasters, which were actually really good fun, and probably my favourite alpine coaster in the world. But Skyline Park's an interesting park. You don't hear that much about it, to be honest. It's not the biggest park in the world, but it's got some interesting rides. In particular, some of the rides that are usually upcharges, such as a booster or a slingshot, the big catapulty, pingy, bungee thing, are included in the price, so you don't need to pay extra for them. So that could be interesting. I may end up doing a booster or a bungee today. Right, let's investigate Skyline Park.
Upon entering Skyline Park, you'll find it's home to 6 roller coasters and over 50 other attractions, giving you plenty to do throughout the day. The 2 main roller coasters are Sky Wheel and Sky Dragster. Sky Wheel was the first ever Mariner Skyloop, and when it was built, it held the record for the tallest inversion in Europe, missing out on the world record held by Volcano at King's Dominion by just 3 feet. Since this coaster was built, 8 other identical coasters have been constructed, as far afield as the United States, China, Finland and Australia. This one varies from some of the others in that it typically sends you around twice, which works well for a smaller park where throughput isn't as important. You'll feel the suspense building as you go up and over the lift hill, with quite a lot of hang time before you spin through the Heartline roll and plunge into the drop. There's even some airtime on the vertical sections. Sky Dragster is the other main coaster in the park,
Which is unlike any other coaster I've ever been on. You'll see that the vehicles are just these little 2-man things, and you actually control it yourself. You've got like a grip for speed and a boost button on the other side. It's kind of weird, but still kind of fun. It would only really work in a small park like this because throughput's rubbish. But it's a good laugh.
whilst not as thrilling as some dragsters. This coaster still has a fun launch, especially if you press the boost button. Sadly, they actually limit how much you can press it with a kind of digital fuel gauge that goes down the more you use it. This means that you can't go flat out at maximum speed for the whole ride, but it does mean that every ride can be different, and you can still get some airtime over the hills if you time it just right. Sadly, there does seem to be some reliability issues, in that this is probably about the 4th time it's broken down so far. It was down to 1 train operations partway through the day, and now there's a train stuck partway round. And sadly that's not the first time I've seen a train stuck today as well. And I thought they'd have got the kinks worked out a bit by now, but apparently not. Still, it doesn't seem to have that much downtime when it is down. They seem to be able to get it fixed fairly quickly. But a bit of a disappointment there. Still, it's worth coming for a ride, as it's, like I say, it's unique. No other coaster like it. One of the other coasters they have is Sky Spin, a Mariner spinner.
It's actually identical to the one at Waldermere, except this is way, way rougher. You can probably even see some of the shake on the cars as they go around. But yeah, the Waldermere one was, I'm guessing it's much newer and was pretty smooth. This was rough. Now this is a much better coaster. It's a Schwarzkopf Wildcat, and I don't know how they do it, but it's still incredibly smooth. It's a much older coaster. Whatever engineering has gone into it. I've been on a couple of these around the world, and they're always surprisingly smooth considering how old they are. This one rides really well, as they all do, but they're just good, solid fun. There's also this interesting coaster here, which you can see just, well, through the bits. No one seems to be riding at the moment. It's a suspended, like, 4-person coaster. You see it's like quite a thin rail. Below that hangs a car with 4 people in sort of an X shape facing each other.
Continuing their naming convention, it's called Skyrider, and it's made by a Dutch company called Cadipro.
So one of the more unique things about Skyline Park is a couple of things that are usually extras or charge you more at parks are included in the ticket. So you've got things like, just behind you,
The slingshot reverse bungee, which was way more fun than I was expecting.
you can see at the back there it's actually powered by springs rather than a bungee cord. You can see them stretching up at the moment. This moment of anticipation is pretty good. When's it going to launch?
The launch had a decent kick to it, and you do end up pretty high in the air. The spinning didn't even feel that uncomfortable either. One other flat ride they have is Sky Circle, a booster similar to this one at Power Park. It was also more fun than I expected. I ended up riding it several times.
The racetrack down there as well, you can probably see, it was pretty good too. It's more interesting than a lot of American racetracks, and there's enough corners in it that you actually have to use the brakes rather than just have to be going around with your foot flat on the pedal. So there's actually a bit of competitiveness to it, which is why I won when I went. We have other interesting things at the park as well, so you probably can't quite see from here. There's part of a butterfly I can see sticking out. Now this was my very first butterfly, which isn't a coaster. But some people consider it is, usually if they're trying to get the count out as much as possible. There's also, if you can't quite see it here, hopefully when we move on you can, there's one of these weird like Nautilus shoot weird things. But basically it's a single person carriage that you go down a slope over a little jump and then splash into water. They're great fun, there's like the airtime of it, they look kind of like I'm going to get soaked, but you generally don't get too wet. You've also got a nice little boat pond and a whole bunch of interesting flats as well. In the distance you can see there's a star shape there and an inverting thing that I don't know the name of, but there's one at Potato Park called Rotator. Now I was surprised to find this here, as to me it seems like quite a modern ride, and most of the flats I get the vibe that they would be older here. But no, it's here, same as Mecania at Leesburg.
And although the ride programme isn't that extreme, it's well worth riding if you haven't ridden one of these before.
So it's been a rather fun day at Skyline Park. So I wasn't really sure what to expect from Skyline Park. I've not really heard many people say much about it, positive or otherwise, to be honest.
But I had fun there, and I think the park's well worth a visit. As a bonus, it's open during Munich Oktoberfest, so if you're planning a visit there to ride the fantastic Olympia looping and have some tasty beer, then consider making the trip across to Skyline for the day. Nearby you'll also find some fantastic alpine coasters and some truly breathtaking scenery. Hopefully you've enjoyed this short tour of Skyline Park. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.